it's Brofish here, and I'm just going to be showing you guys how to play Heimerdinger. So this game is about 33 minutes long, and I'm just going to be trying to get through this as quickly as possible. So I'll be skipping around quite a bit, but when anything important comes up, I'll be showing you guys. So the first thing I do is my classic run out of the base and get straight into the enemy jungle to try and steal the red buff, but it's getting to the point where people are actually starting to predict this. Kane runs out as soon as he's able to and drops a ward in that brush. Sees me coming. And I set up my 3 turrets like normal. These guys actually get into a position where they avoid my ward placement. What I do in this position is I just play around my turrets while trying to auto-attack them as frequently as possible. See that they're killing some of my turrets, so I drop some new ones. I end up picking up first blood anyways, and end up being more beneficial for me than it was for them. Now most of the time what you end up doing in lane as Heimerdinger is you'll drop turrets, you'll try and hit stuns, you'll do whatever. I mean, you do tons of damage early game, and you try and pick up kills whenever you can, but that isn't always the case. A lot of the time, you'll just be sitting in lane, pressuring them, so you're still hitting your abilities, you're still trying to poke them down, but you're not necessarily going for kills. You're just trying to push them out of lane in order to secure more farm for yourself. Kills are always nice to have, they're not necessary though, is what I'm trying to say. In this situation, I actually do end up getting to surround Galio with all 3 of my turrets and lay in that stun grenade, so ends up killing him. I'm going to speed it up because you guys get the idea. I just farm for the most part right here. And there we go. Galio's back in lane, he just wasted TP in order to get back in the lane. And as soon as you get your spare parts, you don't always want to drop them. Sometimes you want to just hang on to them. Build up a little supply of your spare parts. I've already got 2, and now I can actually use it in the middle of a gank. And I'm just going to point this out. If it wasn't for the fling here from my partner, I shot all of my rockets directly at him. And now most of the time, when you're playing Heimerdinger, the way you would want to use rockets is, yes, when they're at melee range, you're basically just going to be shooting directly at them, or you're going to pick a spot behind them. Unless you're not, like, if you're not certain that it'll hit them directly, if you're dealing with someone who's like running back and forth, trying to juke it out, then yeah, you're going to end up just shooting directly, not directly behind them, actually quite a bit behind them. And if you do think that you can hit, like you're certain of it, that's when you target them directly with all of your missiles. Because the worst thing that's going to happen if you target behind them is you're going to miss like 1 or 2 rockets, and that's not a big deal. You get most of your damage off. Anyhow, after I successfully, my ally there, picked up the kill, I teleport back in the lane. I picked up Dorn's Ring and Lost Chapter, Control Ward, and a Health Pot. Gotta keep up the vision, so you pick up those Control Wards whenever you can. I run down here now, throw it in the bush, go back up in the lane. I have all 3 spare parts in my inventory and 2 turrets out right now. And I just drop 1 turret to allow 1 spare part to fill back up into my inventory. Don't want to waste spare parts now. It does have a long cooldown early game, so can't just be dropping them all over the place. And it's gotten to the point where I'm just sitting right outside his tower range. I got a control ward up behind me, and I'm just pressuring him under his own tower. Not necessarily trying to kill him, but if he does get low enough, you can go for the kill. I mean, you kind of let that happen to them if they decide to let it happen. Like what he should be doing right now, he should probably just try and pick up this minion wave with his abilities and then recall, but I end up poking him down with auto attacks on top of everything else. Considering he's a melee champion, he has to go up into melee range to auto attack the minions when he's not using his spells. And I'm just going to rewind what happened there and play it in slow motion so you guys can see exactly how that went down. So a little thing that you can do with Heimerdinger is after you throw out your stun grenade, if you think it's going to hit, you can drop a turret. I was so confident in that stun that I dropped my Apex turret. But as you saw, he took a left, he stepped to the left very quickly, he juked out the stun at the last possible moment, and therefore I missed my stun. But if it did connect, I would have killed him, because I could have dropped another one turret, shot him with rockets as I did earlier, and they both would have shot lasers at my Apex and the one turret, and he would have died. But I missed the stun, and it's whatever. I end up pushing into his tower, pick up some more minions, he loses a bunch of minions. You're just playing for the long game with Heimerdinger. You're not really trying to snowball. It can happen, don't get me wrong. But most of the time you'll just be pressuring them under their own tower, or you're just pressuring them in general. Doesn't really necessarily need to be under their own tower, because then you're vulnerable to ganks, but you're mostly just going for farm and the first objective gold on that tower. Poking him with auto attacks for the most part. That's why it's nice to take hybrid penetration marks on Heimerdinger, is because a lot of times when you're in lane, you're going to be auto attacking the enemy champion. Alright, let's fast forward a little bit here until I get into another fight with him just about, because I just recall and run back in a lane. Try and make this as short as possible. End up surrounding him with all my turrets, killing him again. Now, a huge part of playing Heimerdinger is keeping spare parts in your inventory, so if you get into the middle of a fight, you can place them actively surrounding the enemy opponent, making it basically impossible to avoid the damage from your turrets unless they start going for your turrets. But at that point, it's predictable. You're going to watch, you're going to go see, they're going to be casting spells on your turrets, auto-attacking your turrets. At that point, it's pretty easy to get a stun grenade off because now they're being predictable. Poking with auto attacks. Gonna fast forward a bit here. And the CC from your grenade ultimate applies multiple times, even though the damage only goes off once. He actually got slowed twice from this one grenade ult. And I'm just gonna replay here. Got slowed from the first hit and the second one. Even though I die, my ally here pushes into tower and picks up the first blood tower gold. A little bit before Orianna actually got to. So it was a pretty close call, but all the gold ended up going to our team. And a big misconception that, or at least something that I've been hearing about, is people think that Heimerdinger just sits in his lane and pushes all day. No, a huge part of playing Heimerdinger is once you do get that first objective gold, you don't necessarily want to just be sitting in your lane anymore. You want to kind of get around the map, help out your team, get up other objectives. Now, only when your enemy top laners start pushing into your towers when you'll want to go up there, clear the waves, push them back, deal a little damage, get some farm. But other than that, unless you're getting objectives around the map, you should be top. But in that scenario right there, I picked up 2 kills and helped my team get mid tower. And I run back top lane. And I'm going to be talking about how you should be using his W. How should you be hitting these rockets? How can you hit people from long distances? Anything like that. Well, what you want to do is when they are at a long distance and they're not stunned, CC'd, or anything like that, you're never going to shoot directly at them. Never. You're going to shoot a little bit. You're going to put your cursor basically a tiny bit in front of them, like a champion's width of space between you and them. As you can see here, I'll actually back it up, play it in slow motion so you guys can see this. So you can see, I do not go for the direct hit on Orianna. I actually shoot just in front of her. She tried shooting to the left. If I actually shot directly at her, I probably would have missed. So, never shoot directly over long distances. And that's another thing. Shooting champions at melee range, unless they're CC'd or anything like that. I mean, pretty much any of the time when they are CC'd, you're going to be going for a direct hit because it's basically a free hit. You know that they're not going to be able to move, or if they're getting flung, you can throw down your rockets directly on top of where they're going to be getting flung to. And if that isn't the case, if they do in fact get pretty close to you and they're not CC'd, then what you're going to be doing is you're going to shoot directly behind them. I believe there's a couple of examples that I could fast forward to. One for the direct hit on game because of my stun land. A lot of times, what I like to do with Heimerdinger is if my teammates are pressuring in an objective or anything like that, I kind of like to set up several turrets in a bush, cutting off the enemy's path. Maybe have someone help bait, anything like that. And if I land that stun grenade, it's pretty much a free kill, when all you're doing is building straight AP on Heimerdinger. And I run back to this brush, all my turrets are pretty much dead there, and I set up the same exact thing. And this is the mistake that the enemy team made. They actually left all my turrets there with basically no HP, and they're just shredding their team. I end up helping the Mobafire pick up the kill on Kane. Insta-kill Jhin with the amount of burst damage the rocket ulti can actually provide. Just remember, you're playing Heimerdinger, so you're not going to be able to do a whole lot without your turrets. You always want to play around them. That's where most of your damage ends up coming from, besides your rockets. When it comes down to dealing with any champion that isn't CC'd or under any pressure other than yourself, they're going to be trying to dodge your rockets at all times, and your stun grenade, of course. But the thing is the stun grenade is incredibly hard to hit if they're actually paying attention, and that's the only thing they have to worry about. What I do here is I take my rocket ulti, and when you're dealing with champions that die pretty easily, like Jhin here, he's an ADC, then you don't need to hit that many rockets with your rocket ulti. The more you hit, the less damage it actually does, and most of the damage comes from the first set of rockets here. Actually, I end up killing him in about 2 to 3 rockets. Individual rockets. And he's at a third HP. So I'm going to be playing this in slow motion. I spread it to almost the size of the entire lane. If he flashed left, I would have walked left. And it's just, I needed to hit very few rockets in order to deal out that damage. That's the thing with Heimerdingers. You can spread out all your damage over an incredible width, making it virtually impossible to dodge. And you do not need to go for direct hits. It's kind of wonky to get used to because, you know, normally you want to like get precise hits on your skill shots and stuff like that. But you don't really need to do that, especially when it comes down to Heimerdinger's rocket ulti. With 45% CDRs, Heimerdinger's ulti is a 36-second cooldown. It basically just becomes a incredibly powerful spell that you can use at any time. Very short cooldown. It is a very good ulti. And for the last fight here, I'm just going to slow it down so you guys can take a look at exactly what happens. And a big part about Heimerdinger, as I said before, is playing around your turrets, especially with that new passive, the 20% movement speed when you're standing around them. As you can see here, I'll slow it down, is I have a couple of turrets giving me that bonus movement speed. They're pretty much trying to hit me with a ton of skill shots. Orianna obviously hits my Ari and my Mobafire, but she ends up missing me because of all this movement speed that I get. And you really got to pay attention to what your enemies are throwing at you, trying to set up. Because if she actually did land it on me, it would have ended up killing me. I'm not sure if we would have been able to end this game right away. And there's another perfect example of how you should use your rockets. He's not CC'd, I'm not sure if I'm going to hit him directly. So what I do is I target behind him, and that way I really can't miss. I hit him with 3 of my 5 rockets, so I got most of my damage off, and it's not that bad. Right there, Kane. I even hit Orianna a little bit. Flash away because of the Orianna's ball. If I didn't, I would have died. And I can help my team push in for the victory. And that's basically how you play Heimerdinger. If you guys want to see full-length games, let me know, because that's easy to make. I could show you guys full-length games, no problem. So just let me know anytime in the comments. I can do like Galio versus Heimerdinger, because that's what I just did in this game. I could do any of my matchups. Anyhow, thanks for watching if you actually made it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like, subscribe, because I'm going to be posting Heimerdinger content all the time. And thank you for watching. Have a great day.